Up first, President-elect Donald Trump acting like candidate Trump, questioning the legitimacy of the election. Trump falsely claiming that millions of people voted illegally for Hillary Clinton, costing him the popular vote.
Trump is peddling an apparent conspiracy theory in this series of tweets. Like the 12 days of Christmas, you've had 12 tweets about this absurd notion. Why? Well, it seems that the president-elect doesn't like this recount effort that's set to begin in Wisconsin. We're also waiting for word about more picks to Trump's cabinet. Will he pick another billionaire? We're going to have it all covered for you. Let's begin with Sarah Murray, live in Washington. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Chris. Well, it really is an unprecedented move. Donald Trump, now the president-elect, having won in this campaign, getting ready to go to the White House, is publicly questioning the integrity of the U.S. election system without offering any evidence.
Donald Trump is falsely claiming he only lost the popular vote because millions voted illegally for Hillary Clinton. Despite winning the election, Trump is reviving unfounded allegations of voter fraud, a sign he's unwilling to drop his penchant for conspiracy theories now that he's the president-elect. Trump tweeting serious voter fraud in Virginia, New Hampshire, and California. So why isn't the media reporting on this? Serious bias, big problem. Trump's tweet storm coming as Hillary Clinton's campaign joined recount efforts in Wisconsin, led by Green Party candidate Jill Stein. They plan to make similar pushes in Pennsylvania and Michigan after data security experts raised concerns over possible voting discrepancies.
This is a total and complete distraction and a fraud and something that they should drop. We will sit there and look through Scantron ballots. We will win again for the second time, and they will lose again for the second time.
Republicans quickly slamming Clinton despite her campaign statement that they're not challenging the results. Trump even quoting from her concession. Speech where she urged Americans to move forward. Adding, so much time and money will be spent. Same result. Sad.
Donald Trump accept the
act. But Stein asserts
about the status of that recount. But as for Donald Trump's claims, I reached out to back up his tweets insisting that there was this widespread election fraud. So far, they have not responded. Back to you guys.
Sarah, thank you very much. Joining us now is Republican Congressman Chris Collins. He's also the co-chair of Trump's House Leadership Committee. Good to see you. I hope Thanksgiving was good for you and the family, Congressman.
Oh, it certainly was, and the Bills won yesterday, so it's a good Monday morning.
Only true New York team, the Bills. The only ones that play in New York.
That's correct.
All right, so let's put up these spreads in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Because even though there are recounts and there are some legitimate issues maybe for recount, we're seeing McCrory down there in Carolina still wanting to count his own votes. But these spreads, 11,000, 27,000, 68,000, while they show very close races, we've never had a recount influence that kind of number. Do you believe that is enough to not have a recount just because it's unlikely, or do you think we should still certify the results?
Well, we should obviously certify the results, but we don't need a recount to do that. It is time to bring America back together, make America one again. And the irony here of Jill Stein in a recount push that really is going to drag on some of the hard feelings, some of the disbelief of the Clinton supporters that she actually lost. It's time to put that behind and let's move forward as one America. I think I do know President-elect Trump has been very magnanimous in reaching out. He has said the right things to try to heal the divisiveness in America. This recount is just going to drag that on for another week, another 2 weeks. It's not necessary. It's actually detrimental to what we want to do to heal this nation.
Is it also detrimental for the president-elect to tweet that millions of people voted illegally when you and I both know there's not a shred of evidence that that's even close to true?
Well, what we do know is there certainly were people that voted that shouldn't have. Here in New York, we don't have any voter ID. Is it millions? I'll leave that up to
is
Mr.
the answer,
Trump
Congressman. We both know it. You know that there's been exhaustive reporting and research on this. Yes, there's fraud in all things that man touches. Voting is no different in that regard, but the numbers are small. The amount of obvious provable cases, small. He's forwarding a conspiracy theory that wackos created, and you know that. The question is, why? Why do this? He won. Nobody's saying it was rigged except him.
Well, that's exactly right. He is the president-elect. It is time to move forward. I'd like to think we can strengthen some of the voter election ID laws. But you're right. He's won the Electoral College vote. That is all that matters. In fact, I called out in May we were going to see a Trump tsunami. We did see that. 306 Electoral College votes in winning Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania was more than anyone really had hoped for. But yeah, it's time to move on, and it's time to end the discussion of recounts. And again, hopefully we can strengthen voter ID laws, but I couldn't agree more. Let's just move on. Let's get the cabinet selected. Let's get the other 4,000 positions filled.
Right.
That is just an enormous task ahead of us the next 60, 90 days.
Congressman, what's going on with Romney? Trump comes forward and says, you know what? I can be the bigger man. I know what he said, but I liked when I met him. And boy, he could be really qualified for Secretary of State. Now, you got Kellyanne, who's not in the business of contradicting Mr. Trump, savaging Romney, Newt Gingrich savaging Romney. What's going on? Trump put his name out, and now they seem to be eating their own.
Well, I mean, what do I know about Mitt Romney? I know that he is a self-serving egomaniac who puts himself first, who has a chip on his shoulder that thinks he should be president of the United States. I mean, there's no love lost between me and Mitt Romney. I've called him a loser for the last 6 months.
Why did President-elect Donald Trump say, I like this guy, I think he could be Secretary of State? And you certainly didn't say that when he first came out with his name. What changed here?
Well, I'm going to leave it up to President-elect Trump to pick the people in his cabinet that he thinks can serve his administration. Healthy debate is a good thing. Disagreement is a good thing. Once you come to an agreement, though, you've got to move on. My concern is that Mitt Romney is a bit of a lone wolf and might not take the advice of or the direction of President-elect Trump. I mean, he is a lone wolf. And so from that perspective, would I choose him? No. But if President-elect Trump does, I'll certainly support that decision. It's up to the President-elect to surround himself with the people that he thinks can best serve his administration. But I have not seen in Mitt Romney the personality traits of someone who will take direction.
What do you make of the concern that the early choices, and there's still many to be filled, as you suggest, got a lot of billionaires in there? Is that returning power to the people?
Oh, these are successful individuals, and you want to surround yourself with successful people. The dollar sign after their name, to me, is meaningless as long as they're there to put America first, to help Donald Trump make America great again. It's of no concern to me that these people are people of means who are going to turn their own personal lives upside down and work these 60, 70-hour weeks. God bless them for that. You should never hold it against someone that they are successful in a prior career and are bringing that success to serve the American public. I have no concerns whatsoever.
But you don't think it's different than the campaign where Trump was saying, look, I don't need the money, I don't need the influence, so people can't buy and sell me, but money corrupts those in power, and that's why we have to get it out. I can do it. I know the system best. Now he's putting people in there who seem to be the kind of people he said needed to be out. I don't understand the inconsistency.
Well, no. In saying that power can corrupt, he's talking about the Clintons who were dead broke 16 years ago and are now worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Somebody coming in that is a wealthy individual, someone like Penny Pritzker, who's Secretary of Commerce under Barack Obama, is not somebody that's going to do anything that's self-serving. They, in fact, have the means to take care of their family for generations to come. So I don't think there's any risk of someone that has already accumulated a certain amount of wealth somehow using influence to create more wealth. It's more the concern of people like the Clintons who were dead broke, who did use their influence to become worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
The difference between new money and old money.
There you go.
Congressman Collins, thank you very much for being on New Day, as always.
Okay. Always good to be with you, Chris. All righty.
Allison.
All right, Chris, turning to Cuba, now tens of thousands of people in Havana expected to bid farewell to Fidel Castro. The Cuban dictator's ashes will crisscross the island nation this week. This comes as the first commercial flights from the U.S. begin to Havana today. CNN's Nick Robertson is live in Havana with more. So much change happening there, Nick.
Slow change, subtle change. The beginning of its sort of public manifestation will be the gathering in Revolution Square to commemorate the passing of Fidel Castro. That is due to begin in about 2 hours' time. At that time, there will be, we're told, a 21-gun salute. The guns fired off here in Havana and at the other end of the country in Santiago, 700 miles away. Time to go off at the same time. What we're expecting for the rest of the week will be more commemorations, more memorials. The government says that it is planning these sorts of things. Towns and villages across the country. What we're not seeing here is passion so far poured out on the streets, neither in joy nor sorrow. The older generation, perhaps here, they're still reticent in saying what they truly feel. Younger people here have been telling us that they do hope that there's a better future for the country, and that perhaps a symbol of that is the arrival of this first scheduled flight direct from the United States. That's due to land here really in the next few minutes. Chris?
All right, Nick, thank you very much. Keep us up to date on all that happens there. And we're going to take a break. The Dakota Access Pipeline is a situation that demands your attention. There had been a deadline given to the protesters there. The Army Corps of Engineers saying they were going to remove them by force, but now saying they want a peaceful solution. Big key here is, what will the protesters do? We've got two tribal leaders ahead.